Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Mark.
And this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to another feeder series episode, and we are looking at ones to watch. And over the next couple of weeks, this will be our focus of the videos. So this week we will be doing a ones to watch of the F2 guys in terms of who are the championship contenders and who are the guys who have a chance of progressing into F1 in 2021, in our humble opinion. And then the following week we will be having a special guest with David as well, to join myself and Mark in terms of talking the F3 ones to watch and general junior series below them as well, which should be exciting. But for today, guys, don't forget, if you are new around here, you can subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification. You can keep up to date with all our latest content on F1, or like we've got this year, the feeder series that we're doing with Feeder Fridays. So yes, we'll start off with F2, and we'll start off with one of the main contenders, and that is Mick Schumacher. He is 20 years old, nationality German, of course, like his father. Seasons in F2, he had one where he finished 12th in 2018. His previous success is F3 European Championship in 2018. And also he did secure a win in the Hungarian sprint race in the 29 season in Formula 2. So, Mark, I will now leave over to you. Give your thoughts on why Mick Schumacher is a championship contender this year, and why he's got a shot at making it into F1.
For me, he's not just a championship contender, he is my championship favourite. Lots of people are discounting him due to Schwartzman and Armstrong coming in, but I think it's important to mention that Schumacher did indeed beat them in the 2018 Formula 3 European Championship. Another thing to note about Mick is, we've seen it in other feeders that he's been into, he takes a while to adjust to the car and then goes on to really come out with dominant performances. So I think it's very, very hard to discount Mick from running away with the championship this year.
I'd agree with that in terms of, I think you have to understand with Mick Schumacher, he always is that one who understands things and slowly develops. And you also have to know that he's a guy who isn't using his name to get where he is. Yes, obviously, being a Schumacher opens doors for Mick. He can't deny that. But those aren't doors that he's actively trying to kind of find by just being a Schumacher. He had the opportunity probably to progress up into F1 with the super license points.
He probably could have just said, screw F4, I'm just going to hop straight into F3 or F2.
Exactly, but he did F4, and he also, after winning the F3, he could have really looked to pursue and jump into F1 like Max Verstappen did, but he did have the super license points.
Even win the title, let's be honest.
Exactly. So in super license points, he had them there to progress into F1, but he's like, I'm not ready for F1. I want to go and do F2, and I want to progress. And there seems a maturity about Mick Schumacher that makes him a title contender for me.
He's my absolute favourite. He now has the experience of the F2 car, which is very different to the F3 car. It's not just a tuned up version. Very different systems, very different car.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to note. I would say Russell and Leclerc are oddities with winning the championship in their rookie year, and not to expect. And I think it's important to people who are new to feeder series to understand that is not the norm. Don't expect it to happen every year, and don't write off drivers just because they didn't have a stunning first year.
Yeah, because it is such a different car to kind of get used to and adapt to. It's okay to do it. Nick De Vries, I think, was in Formula 2 3 seasons before winning it, I believe so. I believe he was competing in Charles Leclerc's year, wasn't he?
Yes, I believe so. But I think it's also very important to note that F2 is much, much more competitive than F3.
Yeah.
It is very similar to F1 in the way that the spots are limited. Teams are a lot more selective. Well, some teams are, as I've talked about.
We'll talk about that more when we get the full driver lineup, but yes.
Yeah. No, it's a lot more of a competitive grid. The car's a lot harder to drive as well.
Yeah.
So I think, So I think that I would say Mick is my standout favourite.
And for me, why I think he can progress to F1 is, unlike some of the drivers on this list, there is a very clear route into Formula 1 for him. In terms of the Alfa Romeo seat, one seat is owned by Ferrari, and there very much seems like at least one of those seats will be open. I know we'll talk about it later, but Mark believes that potentially two of the seats, both seats, will go to Ferrari Juniors next year. But Giovinazzi, either there'll be kind of three outcomes I see. One, he doesn't perform well enough and he gets dropped from F1. Two, he progresses to the senior driver within Alfa Romeo, with Kimi Raikkonen retiring most likely or moving on to another team. Or three, Gio gets promoted to Ferrari as a number 2 driver with Sebastian Vettel leaving, and then the seat becomes available that way.
Yeah. I don't see any of the F2 drivers getting the Ferrari seat straight away.
No. But the Ferrari-owned seat at Alfa Romeo, definitely.
Yeah. Could Kubica factor into that second seat in Alfa, or would you say no?
I would say Kubica factors into it if Kimi Raikkonen leaves. In terms of, they may say, that's the Alfa seat, we want an experienced driver, Kubica's impressed us, we're going to give him a shot. I wouldn't say that you'd ever see a lineup of Kubica Giovinazzi. I think Giovinazzi would either have to become the experienced member in the team or leave the team, either by leaving F1 or there.
Should we move on to the next Ferrari Junior? There's about
there is only 2 more. The main one, 3 more, sorry, because there are a lot. We've only missed out one of the Ferrari Juniors. Let's go for the next big one that people are talking about, and that is Robert Schwartzman. He is aged 20 as well as Mick Schumacher, so they're the same age there. I think important to note. Nationality Russian. Seasons in F2 0, previous successes the Toyota Racing Series in 2018 and the FIA Formula 3 Championship in 2019 that he won with Prema, of course. So Mark, your thoughts on why he is a ones to watch this year?
He's a ones to watch, and I think he could be a championship contender, but I see him maybe doing something very similar to Zhou, finishing maybe top 5. A bit better than Zhou, but I think he'll be a top 5 driver and possibly push Mick for the title. I think people are hopping on the Schwartzman train a bit too early. We haven't even seen testing yet. He was good in an F3 car, but we don't know how those skills transfer over to an F2 car.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to make. Schwartzman, you can't deny that the kid's got talent. And
no, you can't.
He is an exciting prospect, and you know I'd probably stick my neck in the line. And at some point, you're going to see him have a serious opportunity at F1, if not one of the kind of guys you'd hedge your bets on making an appearance in F1 one day. This year, you certainly can't discount him, because we spoke about it in the F1 Worldwide podcast with David. He just is that Mr. Consistent guy. He may not win loads of races. Zhou would be a good comparison there in terms of, but he gets himself on the podium and he gets really strong finishes mixed in with the odd win. Very good. But yeah, it was important. Obviously, he wasn't an F3 rookie last year, so like Mick took a year to adapt last year. We don't know how he will adapt to the F2 car, like we already discussed, is different to any car they've driven today.
Yeah. But I think it is very important to note that I think people are fawning over him due to the Leclerc and Russell factor. They think he could be a junior that comes in as a rookie, as F3 champion, then wins F2, and I think it's possible, but I would say it's unlikely. He could finish second or third, but I think there are drivers more likely to finish higher than him.
Yeah, the experience factor is a big thing in F2, and you'll see some of the other guys on this list do have a couple of seasons under their belt as well, which will play a massive factor. But with Schwartzman, like Schumacher, I don't think we have to talk too much on this. Obviously, if he performs, if he reaches the level that everyone's hoping of him, and he does win, or he finishes within that top 3 and had a very good season, then obviously the Alfa Romeo Ferrari seat is the one that you see being open to him.
Yeah.
So we'll now move on to the third Ferrari Junior, and it's an interesting one. I'll go Callum Illin, because he, like Mick Schumacher, has a season of F2 under his belt. So Callum Illin, age 21, he is a British driver. Seasons in F2 1, and he finished 11th, so actually finished ahead of Mick Schumacher last year. And previous successes, we haven't got anything of note there, but obviously has shown talent throughout the junior series with race wins, usually coming second or third in championships from memory there. So yes, Callum Illin, thoughts?
I mean, I don't rate him as highly as Mick Schumacher. I think it's important to note that before last year, he actually did have a small stint in F2 before that. But, I mean, I'd say that Mick also had a troubled season. That's why he finished slightly higher. But you can't rule out Illin from also being a title challenger. He seemed to get better as the year went on. And now he's in a much, arguably better car. He is once again our championship favourite.
Yeah, I think we should mention the car. Obviously, the two previous guys we spoke about were in Prema cars, and Callum Illin is in the Uni Virtuosi car. And so, obviously, he was with Sauber Junior team powered by Charouz last year, and impressed, obviously, alongside Juan Mal Carrere there. But yes, I think he himself underperformed to his standards last year. He could have done better than what he did, so it is going to be really interesting, because Uni as a team seem to have got it together. Obviously, Giotta finished third in the championship, and Zhou in his rookie season had a number of podiums under his belt. He'll be a ones to watch we later come on to talk about. So yeah, it just very much he's got a really good platform, and you can't discount him because of, one, the talent that he's shown in F2 with a season under his belt, but also the team that he's within, like we did in our previous videos. It provides a platform for him to succeed.
Oh yeah, of course.
And again, we probably don't need, for the Ferrari Juniors, to mention anymore, the clear option into Formula 1 would be with Alfa Romeo Racing if he manages to outperform Mick and Robert Schwartzman.
Yep, I would agree with that.
And so we'll move on to the last Ferrari Junior, and that is Marcus Armstrong. He is age 19, so the youngest, actually, I believe, on the ones to watch list. Nationality, he is a Kiwi. He is from New Zealand. He's had 0 season in F2, obviously promoted with Schwartzman from Prema last year. Previous successes, he won the Italian F4 in 2017 and obviously was runner-up to Schwartzman last year in the Formula 3 Championship. So thoughts on Marcus Armstrong?
Once again, he's in a strong team with ART. He's not as consistent as Schwartzman, but sometimes he does appear to be faster. If that makes sense to you?
No, that would make sense, and that would be the way that I would describe Armstrong. I would say, if you wanted an F1 not as great a scale,
where you're going already.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. So he would be, obviously, without the crashes, the Roman Grosjean of the partnership, and Schwartzman would be the Nico Hülkenberg of just the consistent.
Nico Hülkenberg?
Oh, didn't you go?
I thought you were going to do the Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean comparison.
No, I was going to go with Hülkenberg. It was obviously his consistency was key in terms of that, and obviously a previous. He was a rookie GP2 winner, wasn't he? Actually,
Who?
Hülkenberg, wasn't he? From memory, or
yes, I believe.
Yeah.
The only ones that come to mind are Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Leclerc, and Russell.
Yeah. So Marcus
which should tell you how hard it is to win in your rookie year.
Yeah. Marcus, the quality of driver there. Marcus is a very talented driver. He is very quick, and you can't rule him out because ART, well, they've had the driver who's won the championship for the last 2 seasons now. So, and like we said in our team analysis, they are a team who know F2 inside out, French-based team, and they generally get their drivers competing at the top end of the grid. And his teammate is yet to be confirmed, but yes, I believe Marcus Armstrong will have at least a car to challenge up at the top end, at least.
I mean, we've already talked about who we think could go in that second ART seat, haven't we?
Yeah, Lundgaard.
Yeah.
So we'll talk for the guys. Obviously, this is a ones to watch list. We will confirm and go through all the drivers when obviously the full F2 and subsequent F3 grids are released.
I think
later on.
Should be out by Australia, I reckon.
Fingers crossed, it should be. But yes, so that is a wrap up of the Ferrari Juniors. Obviously, again, with Armstrong, I would assume that his route would be into Alfa Romeo, if the case is. Now we move on to the Rookie of the Year, the winner of the Antoine Hubert Rookie of the Year Awards, and that was Guan Yu Zhou. He is 20 years old. His nationality is Chinese. He's had 1 season in F1 where he actually finished 7th, obviously driving with Uni Virtuosi. Previous successes, he hasn't really had any. But you could say that obviously winning the Rookie of the Year awards is a major success for him.
Yeah,
and the consistency.
Zhou is all but confirmed. He's a very Latifi. He's basically Latifi to Williams.
Yeah.
Renault were very happy with him. Renault were happy with Uni Virtuosi. It looks very certain that he's continuing in F2. It just seems to be waiting till the last minute
to announce it. Yeah. But
and I think Renault could be announcing both of their juniors at the same time. Maybe that's what they're waiting for.
Yeah, but if we're being honest here, he will be in F2, even if for some bizarre reason it's not Uni Virtuosi. So that's why he makes the list. And why would Guan Yu Zhou be a ones to watch for you, Mark?
Amazing rookie F2 season. Showed great consistency, amazing speed. Just seemed to be the standout rookie. I mean, I can't praise him enough for the way he drives. He just is a very... I mean, have you actually seen some of his race footage?
Yeah. And
how would you describe his driving style? Because
that...
Is it something special?
Yeah, it's difficult to put a finger on, actually. But
I mean, if I try to describe it, I would almost say Rosberg.
Yeah,
That's what I'd bring it to.
I can see elements of that within him, but for his rookie season, I think, obviously, we had that horrific tragedy at Spa, and I think Anton probably would have been the rookie of the season if obviously the events of Spa hadn't happened. But Zhou, just for his consistency of finishing on the podium and how he came in 7th in the championship in his first year, alongside a very experienced teammate in Luca Giotta, who, obviously has left open wheel racing now. But yeah, he certainly would have been a great guy to learn from. But yeah, he was just, I think his consistency was pretty impressive in his first year.
Very. I mean, all you have to do is look at his results. He was nearly, I think he finished, if he didn't finish in the points, he retired. That should tell you how good he was.
Yeah. Which, yeah, is incredible feat to be that consistent in F2 because of how obviously the races work, and we'll do a video on that later on in our kind of preview coming up to the season, where we talk through what the races are and everything and explain that. But
I could be wrong here, but I think he was the only driver to finish in the points every race he finished.
I do not have that stat. You've thrown me on the spot there. I do not have that stat up there, but he had that level of consistency that I wouldn't be surprised if that is true. There we go.
Yes, he was. He finished. If he didn't finish in the points, he retired.
Brilliant. Like, that is superb level of consistency in your rookie season. And I just think he, again, is in a strong year. He will be the one outside of the Ferrari guys challenging for the title. So we'll focus on the Renault Junior, so we'll go on to the next one there. But his route into F1 is a little bit more tricky for me, because Renault don't have an officially backed junior team. And with Ricciardo and Ocon, that partnership looks pretty set unless Ricciardo leaves, and leaving up a space, and with Esteban Ocon proving that he's worthy to lead and drive that team forwards. But
I still have my theory that they could have a seat available through another team.
Yeah.
That you're not too sure about. I know that.
Well, no. So, quick detour. The team in question is Racing Point because of the engine supplier thing. Because McLaren are coming onto Mercedes, Mercedes are unlikely to be voted to allow to power 4 teams on the grid, which would then mean that Racing Point would be likely to lose the Mercedes there. Unlikely to go Ferrari because they also have 3 engine manufacturers there. Honda are reluctant, I think, to break out from any sort of relationship with the Red Bull based teams, so naturally by default you there have Renault to kind of fill in the gaps and fill in with Racing Point. So therefore he thinks part of the deal might be a junior seat for a Renault based driver at Racing Point. My thought would be they'd more go for, they take the engine, keep the independence, and go with someone like Pierre Gasly or maybe Kvyat or anyone else who's going on the market there, rather than jumping on a junior driver. But we don't know.
I mean, they may not force them, but they may say, okay, this is the engine price if you don't take one, but if you do decide to take one through your own choices, we'll drop the price to this for you.
Very true. That type of thing could come into play, and Zhou is a talent, and obviously with him being Chinese, there are political things involved in Formula 1, bringing a market like China and interest into Formula One would be
It
huge.
could be very valuable for that team.
And Zhou certainly has the talent to back that up.
I mean, I would say that another team could snap him up from Renault.
Yeah.
Just for the pure, he's got the talent, he's got the speed, and the amount of sponsorship and marketing he could bring into that team through the China market would be massive.
Yeah.
So is that on to our next drop, our fourth?
Yeah, so we now move on to, I think we're on sixth driver, potentially, because we had the four Ferrari juniors, Guan Yu Zhou and they're there. So our sixth ones to watch is one of the older ones on there, and we'll stick with Renault, and that is Jack Aitken. He is aged 24, nationality British, but also has Korean heritage as well. Seasons in F2, he's had 2, where he's finished 11th, and he also finished 5th, which was last year. He probably had a very good year with Campos Racing last year, and he hasn't been announced. But Campos, I assume, is doing
results as proof of it takes time to get used to the F2 car.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He certainly had a very strong, and in a team that isn't necessarily competing at the top in Campos, he got some very good results within that team. I don't think they are confirmed yet, but I would expect him to do the same.
I do as well. Seems to have a good relationship with Campos.
Yeah. His previous successes would be 2015 was a good year for him in terms of what he won. Formula Renault Alps 2015, Formula Renault Eurocup also 2015, and Pro Mazda in 2015 as well. So yeah, Jack, what are your thoughts on Jack?
Make or break for him this year. This season will decide his future. If he's right now, he's still a very, very outside shot of F1, mainly because of how good Renault's younger rookies are looking.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't, I'd say I think he has to win the championship, or it's. I mean, he's a good enough driver to get into GT or Le Mans or even Formula E.
Yeah, I was going to say Formula E potentially, but
actually, you know where I see him going?
Where?
The Nissan Formula E team.
Potentially.
No, Nissan specifically because of the Nissan Renault links.
Well, yeah, I know if he was going to Formula E, that would be the team. I'd agree. But yeah, he's got potential to go there. In terms of why he's a ones to watch for F2, obviously this will be his third season within F2. Campos is everything's kind of probably focused around him and tailored to him. He'll have a bit like a Jota season had last year in terms of he's got to try and prove, like you said, I think he has to win the championship to knock on the door to jump ahead of someone like Zhou in the pecking order. He's certainly got the talent. He is a very talented driver, but he's one of those where age is getting a bit on top of him, which seems crazy at 24. But that
24 is still reasonable.
Yeah,
I'd say past 26, that's when your Formula One dreams can basically be called dead.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But yeah, he won. How many races did he win last year? I think it was 4. Yeah. He won Monza. He won one. Did he win one of the Sochi ones? He won the
actual Baku race.
Yeah.
He won the Silverstone sprint race.
Yeah.
And I think he won the Monza sprint race.
So that's 3.
Yeah, had a very close battle with second for Catalunya. That
Yep.
would be it. I mean, he came second, but it was close.
He was on the podium an awful lot last year as well.
He was.
So he is certainly, with his experience and his drive and, you know, almost last chance saloon for him with there, that could be enough of a motivator. And if the luck goes his way in terms of avoiding collisions and reliability issues, he has to be counted at the top of a chance in F2.
My main concern for him is, I mean, I think you said it before, when you think you have to impress, you have to force yourself to impress. Similar to Kvyat the late half of last year, he could over push himself and go worse.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. That is his main risk to what he has. He's got to just trust in his talent that it will work out. But for him, like Zhou, getting into F1 is a tricky route, as there is no clear path other than, obviously,
I would say Aitken has it a lot harder than Zhou, but a lot harder.
Yeah, because he is less of a media and PR asset, because you have a strong British sounding in Albon, Norris and Russell in F1 currently. So also what,
to Aitken's credit, he's very active on Twitter
yeah,
and his social media, but that's not enough now.
what I would say would be interesting with Jack is maybe a curveball to throw in here. Obviously, he has his links to Campos, and if Campos do in the future become a team that joins Formula One, he may not be in F1 next year, but if Campos join in, say, 2022, 23, he very much could be a driver that they come knocking to with having that relationship with the team already. But that is a real outside one, because nothing's confirmed, and the FIA haven't said when they're going to start, or is it the FOM who have the problem with it?
FOM has the big say on new teams.
Yeah, so the FOM are the ones who are very anti it at the moment in terms of it. So yeah, be interesting to see there. But I certainly could see a Campos Renault partnership forming as a junior team. But that's for another video. Yep. But
so
we'll now move
second
on.
last driver?
No. We've got 3 to go.
Oh yeah, we do.
So we've got Louis Delatraz, age 22, nationality Swiss, seasons in F2 2. He finished 17th in his first season and 10th in his second. Previous success is the Formula Renault, same year as Jack Aitken. NEC one he won in 2015. Now with Sauber Junior team powered by Charouz. For this year, he was at Carlin last year. What are your thoughts for Louis?
I mean, it's hard because of how the Sauber team was last year. I'm not sure. I think it's not a step down in teams. I think it's a step across. Not above, not below. It's just a step across. I mean, I can see him maybe as a very outside, just annoying the main championship competitors, maybe making them make mistakes, but not as a main competitor. I mean, just as a driver that's not in the big fight, but he's a driver who's in the fight, who can make those in the fight have a bad race or pressure them into bad situations.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, he was a driver that things just didn't quite work out for him, because I believe early stages he was maybe in and around the top 5 from memory.
He had heaps of retirements.
Yeah. And so he was very unlucky in that aspect, and probably is reason why he looked for a team outside of Carlin. He topped testing when obviously F1 had testing post Abu Dhabi, and the F2 also had testing as well, and I believe Louis Delatraz finished on top in those ones. So I think with coming into his third season, showing potential of competing in and around the top, he's someone, he is right on the outside bet of the ones to watch.
He is going to annoy the main ones to watch.
Yeah.
That's how I'd say it. He is going to finish maybe in a similar position to where Aitken or Matsushita finished this year. Just not close enough to the championship, but is enough to throw off a race that would help the champions maybe pull away.
Yeah.
He's going to annoy them. I would say that he's going to guarantee it's going to be a closer fight than it was last year.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. And with Louis, out of all our ones to watch, he has the absolute hardest route into F1, because I don't believe he is officially backed by any of the junior academies. And you saw even a driver like Nick De Vries, who won the championship, wasn't able to find his way into a seat in Formula 1 because he didn't have that backing.
Oh, he is actually linked with a team.
Oh, who is he linked with?
He's Haas's simulator driver.
Ah.
That makes his path into F1 a bit more interesting.
It makes it interesting, but it also means that is probably one of the worst, I would say the worst team to be affiliated with on the grid in terms of a junior driver, because of Haas's stance on bringing youth talent into the team. They prefer the experienced guys.
Into the team once they're settled.
Yeah, but that settled may be too late for Louis Delatraz, especially after the 2019 season that Haas had. So yeah, Louis has a difficult role. I think he's got to win the championship and be a very good winner.
By a lot.
Yeah, to make people
That's
go.
That's the only way I can see Haas going, "Oh, we'll take him."
Yeah.
So I don't think that's likely.
No. So that would be a wrap on Louis Delatraz. We now move on to the controversial figure himself, and that is Dan Ticktum. Age 20, nationality British, seasons in F2 none, although he has competed in a few races within F2 when he was a Red Bull junior. Previous successes, he has won the Macau GP in 2017 and 18, which is a highly coveted Grand Prix win. It's almost like the Formula 3 World Cup, it's described as. But I'll give a brief note for those of you listening who may not understand why Dan Ticktum is a controversial figure. So Dan Ticktum used to be part of the Red Bull Junior Academy. In his F4 season, I believe it was his first major incident that received him a year's ban, wasn't it?
Major is a bit of an understatement.
Yeah. You can tell Mark's feelings on this.
Catastrophically stupid incident.
That would be the one. So what he did, and this is kind of unforgivable because of the machinery that they are in and the danger that lives go in as well.
We know what it's capable. We know what a Formula 4 car is capable of doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you may think, oh, it's not that fast. It's just a souped-up go-kart. But I mean, Billy Monger.
Exactly.
It's a dangerous piece of machinery.
Exactly. And so what we're talking about is Dan Ticktum, under safety car, drove through the field and crashed into his title contender, taking them both out of the race.
Didn't just drive through the field, sped through the field, cut a corner, and, near T-boned.
Yeah, that would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, drove through the field at high speed, cut a corner, and then hit his championship competitor as they were leaving midway through the corner.
Yeah. And so that was obviously a major one. He had been involved in other crashes, not really anything major than that, but it was his attitude that has been the main thing since then, in terms of how
they accuse people of cheating.
Yeah, and in terms of not taking responsibility for crashes and everything. And he's genuinely rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way, and eventually got him released from the Red Bull Academy on performance basis. But I think it would also be very much that they didn't like the press that Dan Ticktum was getting. But he is in F2. He is now a Williams junior driver, and he is with Dams, obviously one of the most respected outfits within Formula 2. I think it's very hard for a lot of people to stomach it, but I think we have to give Dan Ticktum a clean slate here, and we have to go. We do. And we have to go. Look, there has to be a reason, like that a team like Dams and a team like Williams, yes, are not in the higher state that they were with the free selection, but they could easily go for maybe a Louis Delatraz and have backed him instead. But with Dan Ticktum, there's clearly something. There's clearly there must be things within the contract in terms of his behaviour. But we all know with maybe someone like Helmut Marko being the head of the Junior Driver Academy, for a guy who started to believe his own hype, pumped up like teenager on testosterone, it could have easily been a recipe for disaster, which that it turned out to be. So this year, he is a guy who's talented. He came runner-up to Mick Schumacher in the F3 season that Mick Schumacher won. He is a guy with a lot of talent, and it's going to be interesting. I think
it's also to mention with that F3 season, he's not a graceful loser.
No. He
spat the dummy massively that he lost that title. And I think it could be that if he won that title, he may have been able to. I think losing that title was what cost him his Red Bull seat. Well, not seat, but contract. It was the knock-on effect from it. Because he didn't win, he didn't have the super license points to be able to progress into Formula 1. From that point on then, he went to kind of Asia. Yeah. He went to Asia series to kind of secure the super license points. Performed badly in both of those. Flat on his face.
Exactly. So, but this, there will be a lot of people ready to jump on Dan Ticktum if he does anything wrong, interviews anything wrong, or performs badly. So he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders this year, and it's going to be interesting to see whether we see a new Dan Ticktum, a more mature Dan Ticktum who has learned from his mistakes and can come back, or it is the same Dan Ticktum, and if it is, then his career will end this year in F2.
Do you think we should rate the ones to watch in where we think they'll finish in the championship?
We will once we've done all of them. But yeah, Dan Ticktum, easy route into F1 is Williams. If Latifi doesn't perform, or if George Russell gets taken up by Mercedes, there will be a seat available. And if he does perform well, then he can obviously have an opportunity to go on there. And so we move on to our last ones to watch driver. Thank you for sticking for us this long so far. We hope you have enjoyed it. But yeah, it's Nobuhara Matsushita, the Honda-backed junior, the oldest of our ones to watch.
Isn't confirmed yet, but seems to be Honda's most likely F2 competitor.
Yeah,
so in a similar position to Zhou.
Yeah,
and Aitken.
So he obviously drove for Carlin last year, and was teammate to Louis Delatraz. Consistent, and in his last couple of seasons of Formula 2 has done well and consistently got in a good position. So he is age 26, nationality Japanese, which is important for the Honda back in there. Seasons in F2, he's had 3. Some of them were GP2 listed as well. So in his first season, he completed 9th. Then in his subsequent 2 seasons since then, which were 2017 and 2019, obviously last year, he finished 6th in both of those. His previous success is the Japan F3 in 2014 and Formula Challenge Japan in 2012. So, like we said, Jack Aitken being last shot saloon, I very much feel that's what this is for Matsushita. So what's your thoughts on that, Mark?
I would agree. I'd say he's in a similar position to Delatraz. I don't see him winning the title, but I see him being an annoying person in the battle for the title to the competitors.
Yeah, it would have to be a big step up for him to win the title for me, but obviously with that Honda back in, and for me, there is likely to be at least one AlphaTauri seat to be available in 2021. And being the only Honda, so necessary Red Bull linked driver, and the fact that Honda do want a Japanese driver within Formula 1 for the brand, he's got a good shot here if he can finish within that top 3. I think even that top 3, he still has a chance of pushing into F1.
Yeah, I agree with that. If Honda really want a driver, and the Red Bull backed ones of Tsunoda and Vips don't have the points, that's who I think Honda will say please put in.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about Vips and Tsunoda when we talk about the F3 one next week. But I would probably
put to mention that Tsunoda, Lawson, and Vips will, if they make it to F2 before he has the points, his chance of F1's gone.
I would even say now that he is at the bottom of that list of 3 drivers. But
I would say that as well. But if my theory of Vips doesn't come in,
yeah, I think he is the last, like Louis Delatraz, an outside ones to watch.
Less likely than Delatraz to move on.
Yeah, he's got a more clear route into F1, but in terms of ability and age, it'd be difficult for him as well, because Delatraz can still have a good season next year and then maybe in 2021 secure a top seat again. But yes, so that is our ones to watch. So as Mark suggested a little previous before we did Ticktum and Matsushita, that we will rank our ones to watch in terms of where we think we'll finish in the championship position, or we're going to give them likelihood to progress a rating out of 10.
I think championship position.
Okay. All right. So we'll go through the list that I've got. So Mick Schumacher.
Mick Schumacher, favourite. I'm saying 90% chance he's going to win it. He is my absolute favourite. What about for you?
For me, I feel on his records and everything that I look into Mick, there seems a maturity about him. They can do it. The question is, with Dams and ART, who've done well the last couple of years, and Prema haven't quite been in it, but with two Ferrari-backed drivers,
that's more driver-based than anything.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. I think Mick Schumacher will finish first. I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, you've come over to the logical side and not the junior-loving side. Good to see you here.
So, Jack Aitken, where do you think he will finish?
I reckon third or fourth.
For me, he will be top three. I think he's showed improvement season to season. I very much imagine him to be a Giotto type season. It would be second or third for me. I don't see him going on and winning, but yeah, I could easily see him slotting into second or third.
Yep. So next,
Guan Yu Zhou.
Second. Straight off the bat, second.
I'm going to go with, he will be my driver that I'm going to sit on the fence with him and Jack Aitken. I'm going to say he will be the one within that top three. I'm going to back the Renault guys there.
So you reckon it's going to be Schumacher, then the two Renault guys, either second or third?
Yeah.
I very much agree with that.
Callum Illin.
Fifth.
Univirtuosi. I'm going to go fifth.
Okay. Schwartzman, I reckon fourth or fifth. I reckon they're going to be tradable.
Schwartzman for me will be fourth.
Yeah.
Louis Delatraz.
Who do we have left? Ticktum and...
We have Ticktum, Delatraz, Armstrong, Matsushita.
Okay. Seventh.
Cool. Ticktum.
It all depends. I think he could beat Armstrong, like in the points. But if he has a bad season and he's still running it, then I reckon I'm going anywhere between 6th and 8th, depending. Because I reckon if he has a bad season, he will get over it soon enough and then come back with a vengeance, to say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm going to go.
He's the hardest one.
I'm going to go 8th for me. Marcus Armstrong.
Okay. I reckon. So I've got first to 6, haven't I?
Yeah.
7th.
I'm going to go...
Just outside, he's pacey, but he's inconsistent.
I'm going to have him finishing the lowest for me. I'm going to have him finishing 9th.
Okay.
And then last one is Matsushita.
I'm going to have him finishing my lowest, actually. 9th.
I'm going to have him finishing 6th. I just think his experience will drive him, consistency. I mean, it seems funny to have him finish 6th 3 seasons in a row in terms of F2 competing. But yeah, I think the junior guys who is their rookie season will struggle a little bit more. So yeah, I only see Schwartzman being, we both agree on that, being the best of the rookies coming through.
But we don't, I find it funny that we both agree that he won't be top 3.
I
think he could challenge the top 3. I reckon it's going to be the the top four are going to be the closest we've seen in many, many years.
Yeah, I think he could easily get into that top three. But yeah, I'm gonna back the experience of it, and I just really rate Jack Aitken, Zhou's chances, and obviously Mick's as well. They would be, if I was putting money on it, they two I'd back more. So that is that, guys. Obviously been a bit of a longer episode today, but we hope you've enjoyed it. We wanted to kind of give you a real kind of proper in detailed rundown of the ones to watch, why there, and obviously I think F2 in particular, people watching this will probably want to know the guys who are most likely or have a shot at progressing to Formula 1. Obviously there have been some other drivers confirmed, and they will either be too young, we think, in this F2 season to seriously compete, or they are just kind of veterans of F2 where their possibilities of progressing seem not likely at all. So yeah, we hope you've enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And
we hope that we gave some opinions you guys like.
Yeah, and I think, guys, what we're going to ask for you is your comments down below on what you think of your ones to watch. Is there anyone that we haven't mentioned? We think we did mainly cover everyone that we could have, but somehow, if you do think there are other ones to watch,
announced, we think,
yeah,
/ semi-announced. We know. I think the only big ones we missed out on, arguably the biggest one we missed out on, arguably, was probably, possibly a Lacey.
Yeah, but I just think within the team that he's in as well, and he's the bottom of that Ferrari Junior list for me. But he does have a year experience belt for him. But yes, guys, comment down below on what you thought, who were your kind of ones to watch and your favourites, and like we did in terms of 1 to 9 that we gave championship position, we want you to give your 1 to 9 of where you think these guys will finish in the championship next season. And if you think a guy is more likely to do better than we said, obviously comment why as well. Mark, if they are new to the channel, what can they do?
Drop a like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and follow us on Twitter.
Exactly, and we will leave, obviously, the links to our Twitters below, and at the end of this video we will obviously leave links to the previous videos we did in regards to the F2 and F3 teams, kind of explaining who they are and what you can expect from them in the 2020 season. But guys, we hope you enjoyed that today, and for now, you F1 fans, keep racing!